Well guys, the 240's all good to go. Got a fresh oil return line on there.
This time it's way away from the exhaust.
She fires up, she still runs like a champ.
Minus the whole oil out the turbo thing, but
yeah, we might need to replace that turb ski right there. But other than that, the motor, the important part, is healthy.
Yep.
Did a good job throwing that thing together.
Not bad for a day's worth of work.
Hell yeah, dude. I'm still bummed we didn't pop the tires.
Steam engine in this thing. It's a steam locomotive, baby.
Oh yeah, dude. 240's good to go other than bad turbo.
It's all yeah.
And the trunk doesn't shut still.
Oh dude, you're about to blow those things up. Oh my god.
That really wasn't too loud, was it?
I mean,
I wasn't getting on the two-step. That's what's loud. That was pretty casual.
I figure another like 10 seconds of that, one of these is bound to let go.
Was it sparking at all?
Yeah.
Was it?
Sparking pretty bad.
Bro, look at how bad they are.
Dude, one of these is gonna blow up
out
out
here. If I kick it hard enough, boom.
You know, break your freaking shin.
No, I think we should just, that's not safe, dude. We should just leave them.
Yeah, we should just stab them with a knife.
They are so close. Bro, it's through the cores. Now it's just the secondary rubber. It's probably like a millimeter of rubber holding those things together. And we did air them up to 60 pounds, so.
Jesus.
Because I wanted them to pop loud whenever it went.
Right.
I'm just happy this thing's running, dude. See, but dude, it spins pretty good. I feel like if we get the e-brake kit and stuff on there, I feel like she has a solid chance to actually drift. It's not going to be the most set up, reliable drift car, but it could still do it.
Yeah, it won't be super dialed, but it should work.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
Decent.
Good news on the 240, boys. She survived. And she's still sliding around. I'm just happy also the clutch feels good, so hopefully we don't have any issues with the thrust washer. That's my biggest fear, is the thrust washer issue. Because built motor, throwing rods, we can always fix that, but if something's off with how they machined that adapter plate or something, and it keeps going through those thrust washers, then that's going to be a bigger issue. But it seems like it's good so far. We definitely have the most runtime on this engine by far.
Yeah.
And I don't hear any noises yet. It's not binding up, locking up, so I think that clutch stop might have done the trick. But we definitely need to get some good tires on this thing, just go drive it around, put some more miles on it, and just make sure that the setup is solid. But I'm pumped, boys.
It's been stout.
Yeah.
No complaints.
Good job putting that motor together. That was Witt's rebuilds right there.
Yep. Decent rig.
Boy can build a motor, tell you what.
I can slap things together, I sure can.
What's up, guys? Today we are getting back onto the MR2. You guys haven't noticed, there is a big problem with the MR2 right here.
We got no windows, do we? No, do we?
That is gonna change. Just got the word from JBR that our fully built K20 engine for the MR2 is just about ready to be picked up. They need a couple parts from us that I'm getting ready to bring over right now. We will finish final assembly there with them, and then we should be coming home today with our engine for the MR2. So I'm super excited, and we have a lot of things to get done on this car today. But for right now, we're gonna head over to JBR and go pick up our brand new 1400 horsepower plus rated sport front spec aluminum rod K20 engine for the MR2, and hopefully she can do us proud. Oh shoot. There she is, dude.
Came out nice, right?
Dude, that looks good. Yeah, last time I was over here, it was just the bottom end, just the block was assembled. But as you can see, they got the head on there, cam gears, front cover, chain. She's about ready to go. So I just had to bring over some stuff for like the mechanical pump. As you can see, the valve cover's not on here yet, and we still got to stick the oil pan on. But yeah, come look at this real quick, guys. So as we were talking about when we got all the parts for this thing, we no longer have VTEC. As you can see, there's no middle lobe on these cams. It's basically always in VTEC. I mean, the VTEC's not there, but the bigger lobe's just always on. So yeah, you can see right here the little billet spacer deals that takes over the middle rocker that was right there. So that replaces those guys. And then if you look right here on the back,
Delete.
we got this from Drag Cartel. This is where VTEC used to go, the solenoid. So we have a little delete plate right there. And then we're also not going to be running VTC, so we have a delete plate covering that. And yeah, they just got everything degreed. You can see we're missing this bolt right here for the cam gear, and that's because we need to put the valve cover on first, and then that bolt goes on. And there's that. Do you have that bolt? So this bolt is a special bolt that goes onto the cam gear right here. So when we were at FL2K, if you guys remember Rudy, he's a Dry Creations. He made a custom valve cover that fits a mechanical pump. So this guy is welded on there. This is the same valve cover we've had. We made that plate to cover over this, but now it is finally time for us to take that plate off and actually use our mechanical fuel pump. So how that works is the valve cover goes on. We stick this bolt into the cam gear right here. Obviously the cam gear is going to be spinning when the engine is running, and it's broached and has like an Allen head inside of it, or an Allen shape, you know. So it takes that guy onto the mechanical pump, and then it spins our pump and it gives us fuel. And with this pump we'll have all the fuel in the world. We'll never run out of fuel with this guy right here. So yeah,
unless you actually do.
Who knows? But if we're running out of fuel, then I don't know, we're doing something right.
It's probably Whit's fault.
Yeah. Yeah, the only way we'd ever even come close to tapping this thing out is if we were on methanol, and even then, you know, we can make like 2,000 horsepower on methanol with this pump. We are not going to run out of fuel, guys. So we'll have everything for our mechanical pump on there. She's all put together, ready to go. So we just got to get the valve cover on there first, because the only thing that kind of sucks is the valve cover has to go on before this bolt. So if we ever do have to service this, the pump and stuff has to come off for the valve cover to come off, but that's just part of the deal. But yeah, boys. I mean, what? You guys have made like over 1,400 on this setup, right?
Yeah, we had the old drive car that I've been driving, Mark. He just tuned out a hub dyno last weekend. Same style engine, made 13, I think 80 on at 40 pounds. So these motors are capable of well over that at 60 pounds.
Like
14, you're making like 14,
1500.
15 at that horsepower on methanol. So
They can make a lot of sauce, boys. The power of the K series.
no VTEC needed. Chop chop.
Nope.
VTECs for impressing high school girls.
We're just always in
Not
VTEC,
even
baby.
then, really.
Yeah, it's gonna sound really sick on idle.
Yeah.
It almost kind of sounds like a rotary in a way.
Yeah, once it's
It's
set
like
up
a,
right.
it's like a deep rotary. It's kind of like
It's
bar
like
bar 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 bar.
Yeah.
Let's hear that one more time. You guys are doing great.
I can start the car in a few.
I mean, they already heard the car run last time.
Let me go get the stuff. They're all 19.
That
All right.
ain't going nowhere.
All loaded up, ready to go.
I don't make the drive.
What it sounds like when it's starting.
Couple flaps, you know.
In the middle without strap.
If he would have the cow, he would have left it non-strap, bouncing around.
Just throw it back there and.
Oh shoot! Hey,
That is a squeaky engine stand.
frick, bud.
Very squeaky.
Very annoying.
We're stealing the AC out of these office units right here to help cool down the shop some. It works pretty good. We're definitely talking about upgrading the AC for the shop though, because this area of the shop has no air conditioning. The roof is insulated. It definitely does get a little hot in here, and we haven't seen our hottest of days yet. So we were looking at some units we could probably install and maybe air condition the shop a little bit. But it's not too bad so far. Oh, did you grease her up?
WD-40
There you go.
solves all the world's problems.
That thing was so squeaky.
You can't fix it with WD-40 and duct tape. You ain't a real redneck. Something like that.
Well guys, we got the engine back here at the shop. She is complete and pretty much ready to go in. All we got to do is pull the transmission, flywheel, and clutch off of the other engine, stick all that stuff on there, get the tranny bolted on, get our engine mounts and stuff on there, and we can go ahead and stick this back into the car. But we're probably not going to get to that today. Hopefully by tomorrow we'll have this thing stuffed back into the MR2. We want to do some changes to the engine bay. There's a piece that we're going to cut out before we install this engine, which we will be showing you guys. But yeah, super excited guys. Finally have our new engine. And yeah, like we were saying before, she's rated up to 1400 plus horsepower. This is literally what the fastest of the fast sport front wheel drive Hondas run with the K series. This is about as built as they can get. The next step up from this really would only be to go like to a billet block and billet head, and for what we're trying to do.
And billet crankshaft.
Yeah, and billet crankshaft. We still are running a stock crank, but even on the stock crank, you know, these guys have been so fast. The all-wheel drive Civics have been close to mid-7s on essentially this setup right here. So we should be good to go with this. Like we were showing you guys over at JBR with the valve cover off, not having VTEC and not having that middle lobe, we're hoping that it'll just simplify everything and we can hopefully have less valve train problems and stuff like that. And yeah, overall it's just gonna be a better cam setup as well. We'll flow more air because we actually upgraded the cams than what we had before. So this motor should be able to make a little more power. And once again, this is a K20, not a K24 like we were running before. With the K20, we can turn more RPM. So we could probably leave the car in 4th gear and gain another maybe 10 miles an hour in 4th gear, and we were already able to go like 170, and that was about 10,000 RPM. And 4th gear is very close to a 1-to-1. So if we're turning over 11,000 on this engine, we should probably be able to get a little over 180 out of this motor in 4th gear, and then we still have that 5th gear in the sequential, so we're gonna be able to fly with this thing. But yeah, super pumped boys. There she is, and I'm gonna go ahead and show a little bit of what we've been doing to the MR2.
Yeah, let's show them.
Because we got the MR2 drug out yesterday. It was parked in its little spot back here, but we pulled it back, and Wyatt has been getting a whole bunch of little things knocked out. Real quick, I don't think we showed the fuel cell and stuff yet.
Nope.
We didn't show any of this. So we have a 5-gallon fuel cell right here. We are no longer going to be running the 10-gallon anymore. We're going to switch to this smaller 5-gallon, and that is going to sit right next to a 5-gallon water to air box. We showed you guys the water to air intercooler, and this will go along with that. Our plan with these two units is to stick them right up here on the nose. Get the jump box out of the way real quick. So if you guys remember, we had the 10-gallon fuel cell up in the front of the MR2 here. It sat right there. Our plan is to get rid of that, and we are going to put as much weight as far forward as possible. We're going to be making a weight plate to go on the front of the MR2 here, and then off of that weight plate, we will be able to mount the water box and the new fuel cell. We're hoping the weight plate will be a minimum of 100 pounds to start with. So we're going to start with some extra weight there on the nose because we always ran the sandbags. Those added up to 100 pounds. That seemed to be a good base. So we can start with a 100-pound weight plate, add more weights to the corners as needed. This 5-gallon water box will go right there, but on top of the weight plate. And then our 5-gallon fuel cell will sit right here next to it, right up here in this little cubby where the radiator used to be. So now that we're going to be running the radiator in the back, we'll have all this extra room to add weight. So it's going to be much farther forward on the nose than the old fuel cell was, and we're just hoping to get that weight distribution much better. So we'll have both of these right there. Both of these full with fluid is probably close to 80 pounds. So we'll have that added with the weight plate with the battery up here in the nose, and we'll be able to add more weights on the corners of the weight plate as needed. So we're just trying to shift as much weight as we can to the nose, guys, because that engine and tranny and everything being in the back over the rear tires, it's going to be a challenge to keep this thing on the ground once we really crank her up. So we're just trying to get the chassis as set up as we can, because if we can get this set up the same weight distribution as, for say, a rear-wheel drive car with a front engine setup, I mean, there's no reason why we probably couldn't be pulling the same front half 1/8 mile times those cars are. So that's our plan, is just to get the weight all the way forward.
Like, did we show them it when it was all in the car or just on the ground?
I think we showed it, I'm not sure honestly.
Yeah.
We showed that, yeah, showed Wyatt knocking out the chassis harness, but it's all in the car now if we need an update on that. So now the chassis harness is all done, the headlights and taillights, everything works from inside the car, and now the only thing we have to re-add is the engine harness once we get the motor back in there and stuff. And then Wyatt's just finalizing some power wires. We're also going to add 2 little charging blocks to the back so we can charge the car from the outside, because we won't have the best battery access once the bumper's back on. So we're also starting to get the steering shaft installed. Wyatt was working on this nice little bracket right here. We're going to weld the steering shaft right to that guy, and after we get the steering wheel where we need it to be, we'll go ahead and start making mounts to get the seat back in here and going from there. Yep. And then in that corner over there, it's kind of hard to see, Wyatt mounted our little fuse and relay box off of the cage in the corner so we can get to the fuses and relays easily.
Yep, kind of out of the way, easy to get to it. So you can just open the passenger door, reach in there,
yep,
check your fuses, relays, whatever.
Yeah, before we just had this like kind of shoved up behind the center console here, but we just made a nice little mount to the cage. Wyatt knocked that out, so that's looking good. But basically we just got to get the wiring knocked out on this thing and some stuff to fab. But she's getting close, guys, so now it's going to just be starting to reassemble the car and hopefully get this thing back up and going just as soon as we can. There's still some things we need to order, but we'll just get them as we go. Just like little clamps and stuff for the intercooler piping. But all that stuff is on the way, and then get the fuel system ran. Yeah, still a lot of work, but we can finally start reassembling. So I'm pretty pumped on that. Gonna give you guys a little update on one of these back rooms over here. We ordered a whole bunch of shelves off Amazon, and we finally got those put together. I was busy all day doing that yesterday. All this stuff was literally just laying on the floor. So we got some nice little shelves here. These were like 50 bucks a piece on Amazon, got 4 of them. So we're trying to reorganize these back rooms a little bit more. So it is looking nice in here. And now we can go ahead and take this guy off the shelf and that guy, get them mocked up on the engine and see what we're working with. Super excited for that. We have the water to air intercooler over here. I've been dying to see what this will look like with the turbo. So we're just gonna kind of mock it up here. We don't have the gaskets on or anything. Got our titanium studs on there. Looking sweet. It's so crazy how light these are. We've never had nice hardware before.
Yes.
We just get the bolts out of a greasy box that we have on the ground. Oh yes, dude. That is a big turbo on a little motor.
Looking sharp.
Hell yeah, dude. This helps us out because like we said before, the transmission is a lot lighter than the engine itself. So there was less weight, almost 100 pounds less over the driver's side tire. So having the turbo as far over that way is gonna help the weight distribution on the rear. And that's gonna make it super simple to make the exhaust with it being off to the side like that. This runner does come close, but we have plenty of room just to 90 straight off of the turbo there and then go straight back out of the rear of the car. And then we'll have it split out to our twin exhaust and keep that. But yeah, that is going to be sweet. And then the wastegate's just down there out of the way. Then we're gonna have to clock this turbo up some more because we want to stick the water to air intercooler right here alongside of it. But there it is, guys. Super excited to get this thing in there, and then we can really see what we need for fabrication.
It's gonna look slick, dude.
Yeah, dude.
I think it's gonna work out really well.
1400 horse rated engine with a 1400 horse rated turbo.
Gosh dang, we have an engine combo that matches for once?
We have a combo that goes together. That is a big turbo. The one on the van is definitely huge still too, but as far as like maxing a turbo out and actually making use of the size of the turbo, this is the biggest turbo we've ever ran. The Vans is on there kind of as a novelty, and it does make a lot of boost, but this one we're actually going to be running at its fullest potential. At least that will be the idea, which is going to be insane because people have literally ran mid 190s on this same turbo. So we're going to be hauling. That's the plan.
We're going to be hauling the mail.
Dude.
Yeah, it's pretty slick.
That looks freaking sweet. That thing is massive on there. So not only did we get one new engine today, we actually have something else in this box right here, and I think we're upgrading ourselves, guys. So in case something happens to our new fully built engine, we have ourselves a spare. So check that out. This was a used aluminum rod K20 short block, and it has 10 passes on it. Same rods as our engine right over there, BME aluminum rod, stock K20 crank. Essentially the same exact engine we have right there. This is just the bottom end, so it still needs a head. That head that is on the new engine is a fresh head. It was stock, everything was redone, and the old head that came off the car is actually still over at JBR, and they're going to refresh that one for me. All new springs and retainers, all new valves, and that head will be going onto this bottom end right here. So we will have 2 complete engines ready to go for the MR2. So that's what I want to do in the future, is have a backup for all the cars. And we're going to start with the MR2 because it's going to be the most serious out of all of them. It's going to be the most prone to breaking something. So if something does happen to our new engine, I sent it and picked up another bottom end for it. So we can just stick this one back in and keep going, and then we fix the other one that broke and just try to keep that cycle repeating. I'd eventually like to have a backup motor for all the cars, have a backup H22 for like the hatch once it's ready, have a backup K24 for the minivan, just so when they break, we can stick the new engine in, the broken one is getting fixed, or we're finding parts to fix the broken engine, and we can just keep the cars running a lot more frequently. They're not down for weeks or months at a time, and we can keep the content rolling, go to events, just do more stuff with the cars. It's just really expensive to have very nice backup motors. We're slowly getting there, so thank you guys for the support, but we're gonna start with the MR2 because I think it's gonna be the one that needs it the most. And then even moving on from the engines, it's gonna be nice to have backup transmissions for the cars, because right now they only have 1 transmission per car, so if we break it, we're down a while. It's all stuff we're trying to do in the future, just so we can have a little system going and keep them ripping. Do something every day new with the cars and just have fun. So, backup motor, baby. Well guys, that is gonna do it for this video. We have ourselves our brand new fully built engine for the MR2. I'm super pumped to get this thing put back together. We're gonna start on that hopefully tomorrow. Maybe we can stuff this thing back in there, start seeing everything we need to fab up. You know, the intercooler piping, the exhaust. I already have a whole bunch of stuff on the way. Wyatt's gonna continue to knock out the wiring, and then we get all the stuff in the front end figured out, the fuel cell, all that stuff mounted, and just keep going from there. Get her back up and going, boys, and hopefully we can just keep gunning for that record and just keep pushing it, see how far we can take this thing. So, super excited. Hope you guys are as well, and we will see you later.
Bye.